Covenant House, New York, a shelter for homeless youth, is building a new residential facility as part of its Take Notice campaign. The space is in part thanks to a gift from our next guest, Strauss Zelnick, the CEO of Take-Two Interactive Software and board member at Covenant House. We're also joined by Sister Nancy Downing. She is the executive director of Covenant House, New York, and welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Strauss, talk about this gift very quickly. Where did it come from? What happened? And what's the point? What are you doing with it?
Well, the point here is to help something like 33,000 homeless and trafficked youth here in New York. I've been fortunate to be on the board of Covenant House for a long time. I started in the board of Covenant House, California, and this is a charity that reaches over 70,000 homeless youth a year in the United States across many sites. It's a wonderful step forward in our history to build a new headquarters and a new shelter facility here in New York.
Yeah, Sister Nancy, we all think about Covenant House, New York, where you come out of the Lincoln Tunnel, you can see the well-known building, the logo that's on it. But what does this mean? What will you be able to do as a result?
Well, we're so excited to be able to give this gift to our young people that come to us every night. We have 250 young people that stayed at Covenant House last night. We're just so excited to be able to give them a place that's warm and welcoming, that recognizes their worth and value, because they're told so many times that they are not worth it. And so we want this to be a space for them that says, we love you, you're worth it, a place of healing and a place of opportunity for growth for them.
When did Covenant House start?
In 1972.
1972, you think New York at that time and what was happening on the streets. What do you see in terms of the problems that are there now? Has it gotten better? Has it gotten worse? Are there different things that you're trying to address today?
I mean, unfortunately, while we don't see it as much on the streets in Times Square, we do have as many young people coming to us today as we did back then. It's an unfortunate situation. We're hoping to be able to change that. We're hoping that this new building will help people to take notice of the young people that are homeless on our streets every night, and to help us to get them off the streets and into a place of opportunity and growth for them.
What do you need, aside from money, aside from funds? What else would help you in this battle?
You know, always volunteers to help us with our young people, to help them to get into places of employment, get them into places for education, because education means better employment for them. And so, you know, we're always welcoming people to come to volunteer to help us with our young people. Obviously, the support for our new building, get the word out about young people that are homeless, to make sure that people know that this is a crisis in our city and a crisis in our country.
Strauss, let's talk a little bit about your company and what's happening with Borderlands 3, release of the new game that's gotten great reviews, and some analysts on the street think it hasn't been fully priced into the stock yet, the returns of what it may mean.
We feel really good about it. It has an 85 Metacritic score on PC, 83 on PS4. People love it. We're very encouraged by the early signs. Of course, it's early still, but we're very, very encouraged. It's a great game. A lot of fun. And we have NBA 2K in the market as well. So this is a wonderful time for us as we head into the holiday season. We're super excited.
We talk all the time about the strength of the consumer. What's the strength of the consumer look like from where you're sitting?
Our consumers are incredibly avid. They love our properties. They love our competitors' properties, too. It's not just ours. Look, interactive entertainment is the fastest growing sector in the entertainment business. The winds are at our back. We still have to execute. If you don't put out a hit, it's not going to do well. But if you put out what people want, you know, the market is phenomenally strong.
The entire industry has kind of been shifting in terms of how people buy their games, going direct over the internet, having multiplayer games and different things that are there. You think we've reached the turn in that evolution? Is it?
I really still think it's just the beginning. You know, if you look at the household day devoted to media, and it's a long day, as you all know, 5 hours are devoted to linear programming, about an hour and a half are devoted to interactive entertainment. There's plenty of room for growth.
In terms of pricing, there's a couple of sort of developing models that seem to be emerging, including all the additional purchases that happen in-game, trying to get the game to people first, sometimes selling it, giving it away for free, sort of a freemium model. So how do you see this all playing itself out?
Such a great question. I think it plays out in that if you're going to sell the property up front, it has to be of phenomenal quality, which is our goal.
Right.
And then you can also offer free-to-play programming. That also has to be great, but it's a different kind of game. So if you're playing a mobile game on the subway, you'll play for 7 or 9 minutes, but you may do that 5 or 7 times a day. If you're playing Borderlands, you may sit down and play for 3 or 4 hours at night, and you may do that in addition to watching television programming or instead of watching television programming. To charge people $60 as an entry price, you have to offer something phenomenal.
Do you ever see a day where the big streamers who already have this in-home relationship, and I'm thinking of the Netflixes and the Hulus, and Apple obviously just came out with its own sort of new gaming platform, really jump into this space and start buying up gaming companies?
I think the answer is yes, and yes to the first part, and maybe, or I can't say to the second. Yes, they will absolutely jump into being distribution partners, as Apple already is. Whether that means it makes sense to own the content producers, it's hard to say, and they don't necessarily go together, as you well know. Many people try to put distribution and content together. Many people disaggregate it. Right. It's sort of the strategy is constantly.
But you don't think of the games as content in the same way that a film or a TV series is content, and because there is a lot of overlap. Obviously, there have been a number of films that have been generated as a result of the IP in the games.
I do see it exactly the same way, but I would observe that Netflix, despite their market cap, has yet to buy a film studio.
Right.
Although they have started their own original production, and Amazon makes video games, but hasn't yet bought a video game company.
You know, there's only so many minutes in the day, so many hours in the day. And you talk about how you have a huge share of that right now. Who's your biggest competitor? Because there's so many different screens and so many different distributors that are now reaching for that.
We compete with everything and with nothing in entertainment. If there's a lot that people want to consume, they'll consume it all within the context of the consumers open to buy. If there's nothing great out there, they won't show up at all. So we can compete with a big movie or another game or reading a book or any other leisure activity. It's facile to say our only competitors are other video games, and we're not. Those are not.
Do you have any frenemies in the business, or is it all enemies?
I actually don't have any enemies at all, and it's actually it's a very collegial business. Actually, the other heads of the other interactive entertainment companies. By the way, the other entertainment companies, I've been around for a while. You know, I try to be friends with everyone. If I have an enemy, I don't know about it.
Yeah. Just in terms of what happens next with esports, I mean, I guess this is part of the continuing evolution. How important is it to your bottom line right now? Where do you see it, let's say,
not
2 or 3 years?
important to anyone's bottom line except Riot's, because they own League of Legends. That's really the vast majority of the business. For the rest of us who are participating, and we have the NBA 2K League, it's still a development project.
What about 5 years from now?
We think it'll be a big contributor, but we have told our investors don't underwrite to it yet. It's still very early.